Wild Ones. It's Bernadette. I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Saturday, February 27th, 2021. If you are not awake, wake up right now. Get your kombucha, get your coffee. Have a mimosa. Have two. Have one for me too, right? So this is like so exciting. So I'm wearing all my, some of my celestial stuff because Bernadette got to take a trip out to the cosmos this morning with all the sparkly diamonds and all the stillness in the universe when you get up to those levels. And guess who took me on that trip? The tortoise. Oh, yes. And while we were on that little, excursion to the stars, turtle slash tortoise, in particular Galapagos tortoise, and there's a reason for that. Color me shocked. I don't know why I'd be shocked, but I get shocked every time because, listen, I've been doing this for 30 years, but I still believe in the magic, right? So when we got out there and, I don't know why it didn't occur to me, if I'm out there in the universe, riding a turtle or being part of turtle or taken, by a little, a little reptilian amphibian, claw hand. I don't know why I didn't reckon that the messages that would come in would be so much larger than if I'm just sitting here, la 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 in my office and just kind of culling around the world or the universe for information. But I was actually taken up to the universe, to the top, to the very tops of the universe. And here, call me crazy, but here's what the Galapagos turtle and the universe had to tell you about this morning. So, going on an excursion out there led me to, I swear I did this in a trance because I don't even remember researching it, but I know I did because the computer screens are open in front of me. Crazy, but true. And I was led to such a thing called as a world turtle. Now, many of you may know that, but I've never heard that term before. So there's actually another term that the universe and Galapagos turtle hipped me to today, which is turtles all the way down. How did I never hear this? It's actually a really popular country song. A country song, y'all. Yeah. Sturgill Simpson is the fellow that sings it. It's a really cool song. I love country music myself. But yeah, that may be what has blown my mind more. Isn't it kooky? I can travel out into the universe with a Galapagos turtle, but that doesn't blow my mind. But figuring out there's a country singer that did a song about turtles all the way down, I'm like, what? Okay, so let me go back to, all right, so the world turtle, basically that's the idea across a lot of cultures, but really, really into this is the Native American culture across many of the tribes. I did a lot of reading about that, which I only know because all these tabs, it's like, I got 95 tabs open on my computer, can't hear where the music's coming from. And I really do have all these tabs open on my computer and I'm just like, I'm entranced and I'm like reading this and that led me to this and that led me to this, which again, I really think the theme of this year for us wild ones is connect the dots. Honest to goodness. I think when Ladybug came in earlier at the first of the year, that was our clue that this whole year, connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. Anyway, so what I found out is that through all of these myths and all of these stories, and I mean, even from really, really ancient Hindu times, which a lot of historians think that, the Hindu culture is the first culture to come up with the world turtle, which means that when you've seen all those statues with the earth resting on the turtle's back, that's because in their legend and lore, based on many, many different myths across the world, that turtles actually support the world that we live in on their back. And then the saying turtles all the way down goes to the idea that, okay, so there's a turtle here, and then you guys have seen the 3-stack turtles or maybe 4 or 5-stack turtles. That's turtles all the way down. That the earth and the entire cosmos, the entire universe, sits on a turtle or tortoise shell. And then there's a little bit bigger one underneath it, a little bit bigger one underneath that, meaning a little bit bigger turtle or tortoise all the way down for infinity. Basically, there's never any end to all this stack of turtles, each getting larger and larger and larger and larger, that support the universe and support the world that we live in. And there's this really, really cool thing that I read about Turtle Island, the some Native American cultures and First Nations, um, that's a name for Earth. And the story goes, let me just read this because it's just so fascinating to me. According to Iroquois oral tradition, the Earth was thought of a ruler of a great uh, thought of basically a ruler of a great island which floats in space and is a place of eternal peace. Sky Woman fell down to the earth, and when it was covered with water, or more specifically, there came the great sea cloud, various animals tried to swim to the bottom of the ocean to bring the dirt back to create land. Muskrat succeeded in gathering dirt, which was placed on the back of the turtle, and this dirt um, began to multiply and also caused the turtle to grow bigger. As the turtle continued to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and the dirt continued to multiply until it became the huge expanse of land, thus the Iroquois culture refers to the earth. When they refer to it, they often call it Turtle Island. And actually, that as I read, the even non-native, non-like native environmental activists adopted that um, adopted that to work really hard to save our environment, right? To save Mother Earth, to save you get it. I just thought that was so endearing, and not in a I don't think endearing. That's just the wrong word. I don't know. It hit me right here in my heart chakra. And I think maybe because I think of that as a truth of some kind. Because when this triple Scorpio hears the truth, the for real truth, it either just whams me in my heart chakra or it hits me right in my solar plexus chakra, like a punch in the gut, but not a negative one. It's almost like a really strong bell, right? So where I'm going with all of this is, where I'm going with all of this is, as I was out there in the universe with the Galapagos tortoise, and all these messages started to come in, one of the biggest things that came in is because in cosmology, which is the theory or the myths or the legends surrounding the creation of the earth, right? So many of them have tortoise and turtle uh, out there in the stars, out there in the universe, floating around with all the gosh, I've got to believe it's just all the ancient wisdom, all the new wisdom, all the wisdom that ever has been or ever will be. Like it's a big sparkly Akashic records, right? And, we're floating out there, and that's just such a call, I believe, that you've got to create your own myth. You've got to be your own legend. You've got to be your own story, and it's got to be sparkly. And it's got to be, wishing upon a star. I mean, listen, believe me, I don't want to bring Disney into this like super serious. I'm trying to make this reverent, y'all, about as reverent as I can be today. What can I tell you? Humor runs amok in this one's head, and I just there truly is a reverence in you creating your own, maybe even cosmology. Maybe you are at the start of something new. You're trying to dream a new dream, create a new life for yourself, create a new story for yourself. Listen, if you're doing healing work of any kind, I gotta believe if you're doing your healing on your own by reading and experimenting or whatever, if you're seeing someone professional about that, working with a shaman, which is in my opinion, seeing someone professional about it, anything that you're doing for healing, there's got to be a point at which someone tells you, listen, you got to let go of the old stories. Like those are tad, right? We don't need those stories anymore. We need new stories to fit the more awakened, the more elevated, the more ascended you, right? And so this is a call for that. Whatever story it is that you need to move out of your space, move it out of your space and realize that the universe is so full of everything. You can just go, floating around up there and go, oh, I think I'll have that star, and I would like two of those. Yes, they remind me of Skittles, right? Okay. So also I kept seeing was I kept seeing the tortoise shell come up off the tortoise, not hurting it in any way, like almost like there was another shell under there, but that top shell raised up. and then it just gently went over and it floated away from the turtle. And, listen, I share these visions and stuff with y'all because what I love getting emails from you guys. I do. I do. I do. I can't tell you how much I love it. Um, I learn to do better for y'all. I learn from y'all, and it lets me know that you're finding help mostly in these readings. But so many times people will write me, and I can see them at their computer screen. They're like, I'm writing Bernadette about what I see and what I feel and what I think. And you're trying to hide it from everybody. And then you tell me, a person who makes her living by talking to dead peoples and has visions about, and animals that are really alive, or pets and animals that have crossed over. And, I'm the one that's like, hey, you guys cut it out, because, I'm reading for somebody one day and I was like, what is that noise? And a herd of stampeding deer come stampeding through my office, so real that I could have sworn that the wind from their rushing by, like, blew my hair back. Although with this much lacquer, I'm not really sure that's possible, but, Southerners love big hair. So, and then they stopped. A few of them stopped in my office just sniffing around and doing this. And I'm like, do you mind? I'm giving a reading. And turns out the gal that I was talking to, she's got a thing for white-tailed deer. They're like her patronus, her spirit animal, her totem animal, her power animal. Been with her whole life. And I swear to Swanee, they came through my office. So anyway, here's where I'm going with all of this. So nothing's kooky about what you write me and tell me. I'm sure you have visions. I don't doubt it. And I'm sure that you see things like a TV show in your psychic eye, TV and movies and commercials. I don't doubt it. So for me this time, it was, hi Aphrodite. That's my key, one of my keys, Aphrodite. So the shell went off, floated away from the tortoise, and then just sat there. And I felt this urge to cut my hands up under it and hold it, look into it, and then add things to it. Almost like I would be doing a ritual or a ceremony, for all my witchy poo friends out there, creating a spell of some kind. And please, those of you that don't know me yet, when I say witchy poo, I mean that in the most respectful terms possible. The people that know me in the Wiccan, pagan, and witch communities, and the people that know me in the shamanism communities, and because listen, I'm every woman, right? I'm every religion and faith. It's all in me. Everything you want done, baby, I do it naturally, because everybody's got something beautiful to pull from, right? So I just I just had this urge to put things in a container, in a vessel. That's the word they wanted me to use, a vessel, a sacred vessel. And in that, what I really felt like was that in many ways was putting what I wanted in a womb. And that I knew that as I put things in, herbs, liquids, intentions, words, crystals, flower essences, crystal essences. Listen, in some cultures, they spit in some things. And, okay, cool. If that works for you, I have a shaman friend who breathes into things. It's like that sacred breath that's coming out. Listen, it could be anything, y'all. It could be a busted up Christmas tree ball. I don't know, whatever it is that you got going on over there. Today's the day to do that. Today is the day to find your sacred vessel and put whatever in that vessel, in that womb, that you want to work together to create your desired outcome. Like if I'm being very, collegiate about it, mix this with this and you'll achieve your desired outcome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do that. A lot of that, whatever of that. It didn't even have to be a lot, like in terms of you do a lot of different things. Just one thing can rock the world. So I still am a little bit in a trance. As you guys will notice today, my communication has been a little more fragmented than it normally is, just because I'm doing the shaman thing. I'm living in both worlds. I've got one foot in this world trying to keep everything in track of you, and I've got one foot in the other world specifically. I'm still very tethered to the universe. Like I still feel very floaty, and I just see I'm like, God, do I need surgery? I've got all these light flickers in my eyes, and And I know that's the reflection of the stars and what light there is out there in the universe. And I can still see that giant, you know, these Galapagos turtles, y'all, can weigh 900 pounds. They can be bigger than a horse. And so I'm still seeing that critter, but in my hands in this, I feel it's a very tactile feeling holding this, the turtle shell, the tortoise shell. And so, you know, you might work with a tortoise shell. You may have an old one that you found by the side of the road. I mean, I grew up in Florida, y'all. Oh my goodness, I had arrowheads and tortoise shells and all kind of paraphernalia, you know, around my house when I was a kid. Because we lived on land that hadn't been walked on in goodness knows how long, way out in the Florida Highlands, outside of Dunellen, Florida. And so, you know, maybe work with that. You might have a big shell of some kind. Listen, you may have a Pioneer Woman mixing bowl, right? You may have Tupperware. You know, who knows what you've got. And, you know, if you really want to get really adventurous, fill up your bathtub with all your intentions. Goodness knows that'll be a lot of intentions. But, and, oh, you know what? That's why I was told to say bathtub. Listen to this. Okay, and then we're done. We're done for this today, because you got to go gather all your vessels and all your stuff and do all your whatever it is you're going to do. Honest to goodness, I have a friend, long time ago. She was like, and she follows the pagan Wiccan witch path. You know, they're not all the same. Not all pagans are Wiccans, not all Wiccans are pagans, and not all Wiccans and pagans are witches, and not all witches are Wicca or pagan. Okay. So when she would do spell work around herself, not about anybody else, but around herself, she literally would fill up her bathtub, although they had a hot tub, or she'd fill up her hot tub, and she would put all of the essential oils and flowers and crystals and everything in there. And then, you know, she would disrobe and she would get in the water and she would cast her spells from inside of her own mix because they were for her. I thought that was the smartest thing I ever heard. I'm like, that just is so logical, because, you know, whether you're talking about mantras, prayers, spells, daily affirmations, weekly, any kind of affirmation, anything, a wish even, and you're talking about doing that sacred work, if you want the sacred work to work, it's got to come from a place of emotion. Hello, you're getting in the water element. That's going to amp up your emotions. I was just like, how come I never thought of that? And when I started doing the true story, okay, TMI, but true story, when I started doing that, all of a sudden, it was like I could blink my eyes like I dream a genie, and, you know, man, my manifestations and my law of attraction, it started like, I almost got whiplash looking around at all the stuff that started happening. It was crazy. So do that. If you want, if you feel it, but you've been given a lot of tools to work with in this video. And it all does dovetail, back to the daily reading. And so I hope this was helpful. Pick up your copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck. Subscribe to my YouTube channel today. And as always, do good for animals and stay wild.